Well, good afternoon, everybody. We were excited about the win on Saturday, going back and looking at the film. A couple things. Thought the guys played really hard. We played really fast, played with great emotion. Some technique errors and some alignment errors. We talked about amongst the staff, amongst the players yesterday. We've got to get cleaned up. Some of those things were first game stuff, and some of them were just, playing fast, but with not great technique at times and alignments and stuff. And those are going to happen in the first game. We got to get those cleaned up moving forward. We're excited about having another home game. It was a great crowd, electric crowd, and I know the guys appreciated the fan base coming out. And now we've got a Bowling Green team that's coming off a big win and playing with some confidence. And so we've got to have a great game plan and throughout the week and get ready for Saturday.
Maybe the mindset is proving that last Saturday was no fluke, stacking good day upon good day. Maybe tell us a little bit about your message to the team yesterday from that perspective, as far as improving and getting better and being able to do it again.
Yeah, one thing that I'm a big believer in is whatever you did last Saturday has no bearing on the next Saturday, positive or really negative in that respect. You're judged each week when you go out there, and you're judged on Saturdays, but in essence, you need to win each day. You need to be able to prepare Monday through Friday to have a chance to be successful on Saturday, and that's kind of what we talked about with the guys. Our preparation, I thought, was really good against Nicholls State, and there's a reason why we had success on Saturday, because we were prepared, and we prepared for 2 weeks for Nicholls. Now we only have 5 days for Bowling Green, but if we have that same kind of mindset within our preparation on a daily basis, we have a chance to be successful on Saturday.
And you talk about kind of cleaning things up. When you look back at this defense, how good was it, and where can it become better?
Well, I think some alignment errors we had on defense. We missed a couple of fits, a couple of gaps, missed a few tackles that we need to be able to clean up. I thought we had talking to the defense, we had a few too many explosive plays that you want to try to eliminate, and we didn't have many snaps, so it's easy to find errors in those snaps, and obviously for us, we need to play more snaps. You don't want to play more, but we need to play more to have better evaluation on some guys. But I just know there was a lot of technique errors that Coach Hayes and the defensive staff talked about.
Two that stood out to you upon looking at the film that you maybe didn't realize live in the game on Saturday?
I was really pleased with Revis coming in and playing a number of snaps in a backup role, but played enough that he played as many probably as a number of the other guys. Evan Curley probably played similar there. I thought Revis did a really nice job of playing really physical. So I was impressed with him. On defense, I thought Jordan Mitty did a really nice job, and he did some good things. Jonathan Alexander made a really big play that we know he has big playability, and was able to make a big play. And so, those things stood out to me a little bit. Lance Robinson was really good on kickoff, had 3 tackles and did everything technique-wise we asked him to do and made some plays.
How much do you think the drops that Malik had you could chalk up to first game jitters being out there?
Yeah, probably. Made some really tough catches, and then a couple balls that I would say Malik would say himself he needs to come down with, and obviously we'll continue to go to him because he's a special player.
You mentioned that your defense didn't play many snaps, but it appeared Nicholls had some success in the middle of that defense. What did you see when you looked at film? Yeah, just more than anything, a misfit. We were out of a gap. Maybe they motioned one time, and we on their touchdown run they motioned, and we didn't align correctly, and they were able to crease one there. And then a couple other times, maybe one time late in the game when they had a long run, we just got misaligned again. And it's little things that we keep harping on and talking about that will hurt you in a critical game when the score is a lot closer. And so those are the things we have to continue to work on and continue to clean up because we cannot get beat
with our own mistakes of alignment errors. If somebody makes a great play, they make a great play, but we can't give them, free yards.
You mentioned after the game that it's hard to evaluate an offensive line from your perspective down there, that they were moving the line of scrimmage, but as you went back and looked at the film, how good were they?
I thought we played really well up front. You rush for as many yards as we did and protect the quarterback like we did. A number of guys played, and that was the other thing we were pleased with, to get as many guys in the game that we could, because we need experience behind the starters that we have. But I thought they played at a really high level and played with great energy and did a really good job communicating.
You obviously have a pretty new staff too, but how difficult is Bowling Green to prepare for with a new staff and off of a good game in week 1?
Well, it's difficult to prepare for those guys because we're watching, obviously, their one game and then watching other games from different staffs where the coordinators were, and so you don't have it in a blowout win like they had. It's kind of difficult to say, well, this is what they do. There's some carryover from what we've seen with the coordinators from other schools, but it'll be a work in progress. We're watching film of past years, as well as not just that last game.
You only had that one game, but they obviously had offensive success. What do they do well, and how do they attack the defense schematically?
Run the ball, try to outnumber you at the point of attack with a lot of things that we would do offensively, a lot of motions, some alignments. They do a good job with their receivers and tight ends blocking as well, to try to just create mismatches, try to enforce your corners into being run players by cracking your safeties, and just so many multitude of formations and running some similar plays, but doing it out of a lot of different formations, and then whether it's a shift or a motion, trying to change your eyes. And our eyes on defense have to be right this week. We can't look at some of the eye candy that's motioning across in front of us. We have to focus on our keys.
Can you refresh my memory a little bit on the process that Tyler Burns took to get back on the team, and then also could you tell me just a little bit about what he's done to not only earn a scholarship but earn enough playing time to score a touchdown this week?
I don't know everything that transpired with Tyler. I know that he wanted to visit with me in the spring about having an opportunity, and I told him that's what he'd get, was an opportunity to come back to the football team, and I didn't promise him playing time, didn't promise him an opportunity to get aid or anything. We just invited him to come back, and I think he's got a lot of close friends on the team, and thought he did a nice job in the spring. He was nicked up a little bit in the spring. And then in the fall, he continued to progress. Where Tyler's made a difference for me is on special teams, more so than running back. We put him on a number of special teams, and he really showed the ability, and more than that, the want to be a part of them. And sometimes that's hard for guys that, I know I just want to be the running back. I just want the carries. Well, he wanted to know how he could help the team, and that was through special teams. And I know he played a number of snaps on special teams, and then had an opportunity to play some tailback late in the game. And so I was just pleased with his whole body of work throughout the summer and the month of August. And so we're excited to have him back.
I guess kind of similar question on Landry Webber. I neglected to ask last week what he did to impress you and earn a scholarship. What have you liked most from him?
Competitiveness. I love watching him compete on a daily basis. It doesn't matter if it's a Monday in April or a Tuesday in August. The kid comes to work every day. Doesn't have bad days. He stacks good days on top of good days, and he's always a guy you recognize. Phenomenal special teams player that takes a lot of pride. And then a guy that worked really hard this summer to refine some of his route running, caught a ton of balls, had a couple of big catches for us on Saturday, and a guy that we feel is somebody that we can rely on. It doesn't matter if it's first down or third down or on special teams, and when you can have that kind of contribution, you're going to deserve a scholarship.
You mentioned Josh and Tyler so far today, and if I'm not mistaken, both those guys came out of the 17 class. I know you guys. I this regime wasn't part of that, but that's the last group to have a signing out of the Wichita area. I know you've been high on the Kansas City area, staying keyed into that spot. But to that point, I guess how important is it to make sure that we're spread out throughout Kansas when players like those,
really
come on your radar?
We need to win across the whole state of Kansas, and people don't understand that takes time too. You just don't come in here and all of a sudden have great relationships. We're fortunate that Taylor Bratt's around that has a lot of relationships, but all of us new guys, with the exception of Colin, are building relationships, and that's something that's recruiting in itself. And you're not just because, hey, we're at Kansas State, we're new, you're going to come here from the state of Kansas. We have to build relationships. We have to invite them in. We have to treat them great when they're here, so that guys go back and say, you know what, that staff's pretty good. They take care of you, they challenge you, and that's something that doesn't happen overnight, but it's something that we're striving to do so that we can win in the state.
One of the more notable guys on the roster out of Kansas, and especially the Wichita area, is Denzel. For good reason. He put out a story on his dad earlier in the week, and then we saw the video of Skyler post-game getting emotional with his teammates on Twitter, I think. What have those two guys in particular? I know they lived together in the past.
Mm-hmm.
What in particular have those two guys shown you that made them worthy of captaincy?
They care so much about their teammates. They care so much about Kansas State football. They've been a part of this journey for an awful long time together, and they're really close. And I know that guys look up to those two guys for what they do on the field, more importantly probably what they do off the field, conducting themselves the right way, being servant leaders, making everybody around them better. And those are two guys that I was excited when the vote came out that those two guys were captains, because two guys that I really look up to, two guys that I can bounce a lot of things off of, because I trust those two guys and know that they're going to give me not what I want to hear, but what I need to hear.
Coach, talking with some people around Jonathan Alexander earlier today, the theme was about focus and about how he focuses on each play, and how he at one point was just focused on being able to get with a Division I team. What can you say about his focus on the field, and then his perseverance and focus to make it to the stage?
Well, when he's focused, he's a really good player, but he's also, for us, young into our program and young into Kansas State, and yeah, he's still making some mistakes, and some of that can be focus. It's something that we're harping on, but I think it's great when Jonathan's around the Denzel Goolsbys and the AJ Parkers and guys that have been around here that have played a lot of snaps for us, because Jonathan is an impact guy, and he's learning our defense. He's learning the way we do things around here. But we saw it all spring too, as far as the big play capability, whether it was an interception, a strip, something. He got his hands on balls because he has so much length in the seam, and I'm excited because the longer he's with us, the longer he's practicing, the more he understands things, the better he's going to be. And I know one thing, Jonathan's got a lot of pride and he wants to be great. And so we're going to continue to challenge him because for us to be successful, he has to be a playmaker.
How did you evaluate John Holcomb and what he did with his time on Saturday?
He did a really nice job. We had a set of plays that we wanted to try to run with him to accentuate his skill set, and I thought he ran really hard. I thought he ran really determined, and it's something that down the line may become a part of a package for us that we can utilize him in certain situations, red zone, third down, goal line, whatever it may be. Time will tell, but I was really pleased that when he got in there, he didn't care when he got in. He's like, okay, I have an opportunity. I got to make the most of it. And that's the one thing that we did talk about with the team is I don't care when your opportunity is. If it's because of an injury, it's because of us being up late, or you're the starter. When your opportunity comes, you have to make the most of it and you have to be productive. And that's one thing John was productive. You're fine.
Can you break down Jax Deneen and Joshua Youngblood playing as true freshmen?
Well, Jax became a part of the mix when Harder got hurt. And we didn't know if we were going to play Jax or not. And then when we lost Adam, we were short a little bit at fullback, and we pressed him into some time to see how he would respond. He's a guy that I think has a chance to be really good. He's just got to fine-tune some techniques and some fundamentals and his focus and all those things, but he has loads of ability, and he's a really good athlete, moves his feet really well, really productive with the ball in his hands. But he also has to be a dominant blocker and has to know who he's blocking and the right technique. And so I'm excited because I think Jax his best football is in front of him, and he'll be a guy that I think will play more than the 4 that'll probably play most of the year. Youngblood is continuing to learn what we're doing offensively. He has tremendous speed, tremendous athleticism. We're just trying to design some things to make it maybe a little bit simpler on him, because he doesn't have the experience that Malik does and Joaquin does and Dalton does, where he can play or Landry, where he can play multiple positions. But we also know that at that position you need to have more than 4 guys throughout a whole season. And so we thought Josh's body of work was good enough throughout the month of August that we know his best football's in front of him. So even though he didn't catch any balls and stuff, we thought he had some productive plays out there, and we'll continue to push the envelope with him as far as giving him more of the playbook.
Do you think he would play beyond the 4-2?
Yes, I do.
And one more for you. Fans seem to really enjoy the look into the locker room speeches and stuff after the game. I know that's nothing entirely new with the social media access you've given, but why is that so important for you and letting people take a look at that stuff?
We got a great fan base. Give people that really want to be a part of these guys' story, these guys' journey, and the right setting. I think it's a great thing, and something that for our fans and people to be a part of the journey that these guys are going on, I think is pretty cool.
We hear and talk so much about, just how you assess the players, but, you brought in a few guys on your staff you maybe hadn't worked with before. How did you feel like the communication was for the first game?
Yeah, I thought our communication was pretty good. At halftime there was very simple adjustments. There weren't many adjustments on defense simply because we hadn't played very many snaps. Offensively, we were talking about a number of things, but I liked the communication. Scotty and Mess are real veteran guys that can take over and accept input, calculate the input, decide what they're going to use, and those 2 guys I think were exceptional as far as the play calling as well, and just listening to the input that guys were having between series, I thought was really good. And so obviously it was a first game. There's some kinks that we have to get ironed out. I think operationally, offensively, we need to be faster calling plays. We need to be faster in and out of the huddle. I kind of anticipated that a little bit. They weren't going fast. Nichols wasn't, so it's not like we weren't getting calls in. Those are things you're concerned about, but we didn't have those issues. But it's going to still be a work in progress each week, and I know that they probably are talking about more things that they need to improve upon than even I'm giving you, just with their own conversations amongst each other.
Can you share the health status of Jonathan Durham and Cody Fletcher at this point?
We're hoping that Cody gets to practice late this week. That's the plan for him. Now, whether that makes him available, I'm not sure. JD's probable for this week. There's a chance he could play. If not, it's not long term for him for sure.
Anything else? You mentioned just touched on special teams play. What was your overall sense for how they played?
I thought our kickoff team was really good. We made some plays. Lance, in particular, made some really good plays, and so that was encouraging. Our kick return, I know that we were a little disappointed because I thought we had some creases and we didn't quite maybe return them as far as we would like. I think we missed a couple of assignments that we need to clean up. The punt, we didn't have one, so that's encouraging. Tell Mess we'd like to keep that going if we could. And then punt return, we were fine. We need to catch the ball, and we talked about that. We misjudged a couple But I'm confident in Phillip because once he gets the ball in his hands, as you guys saw out there in the limited, whether it was on a punt or catching the ball or on a jet sweep, the kid's pretty electric. So he'll learn from that.
You guys changed formations and personnel at quite a fast pace in that first drive. Was that something you just really wanted to get out of the way and show everybody that you could do it and get used to it, or?
No, that's kind of what we do. All the time. That's just what we do. It's like a hockey line change with Coach Mess, and trust me, on defense that's difficult because you're trying to decide who's coming in, who's coming out, and there's certain plays that he wants to get in that are different personnels, and I think that makes it challenging on a defense when you're not saying, I'm just defending one thing or one group of people, and also we want to get more guys in, but that's just, I've seen him do this now for a few years, and that's kind of what we've done.
This is probably a loaded question, but how do you look at your role on game days? Is Coach Messingham completely in charge of the offense and you help more on defense? Are you overseeing both sides? Just what's your game day like?
Overseeing both sides, but I'm not getting into the play calling. I'll make suggestions or ask, hey, we missed this, we missed the back on this blitz, or we didn't pick up this one. Make sure we get that covered. It's things that we see that I want to make sure that if I see it out of a naked eye, I ask Coach Hayes one time, we blitzed, we lost contain, make sure we address that. Yep, we had that written down. Or something with Mess as far as personnel grouping. I thought we were trying to get this guy in the game. Yeah, we did. He was getting something fixed. We're trying to get him in the next series. But not big into the game plan to say, hey, here's what we need to do now. It was a game that was out of reach, I thought, too. So, each week will be a little bit different. But when we're on offense, I'm quiet. When we're on defense, I'm quiet. When we flip over, then I'll flip over and get a chance to talk to him while the other group's out there.
I guess kind of as a follow-up to that, with Coach Klanderman up in the booth, are you kind of the guy who takes the point with the safeties, or does Van Malone have to take
Van still does take the lead with those guys. I may grab somebody when they come off the field and visit with them a little bit, but no, Van will do that.